Hello and welcome to the assembly video for the mini arcade cabinet kit from arcadeflatpack.co.uk. This is actually an assembled model. As you can see, we have standard arcade buttons, 6 for the player. We have a credit button, a start button and a menu return button. This is actually the older model. As I'll show you later, the buttons were replaced by a more appropriate one. We have 3 bolts per side holding the assembly together. As you can see, it's quite strong. You don't get any movement on there, it's only because it's on a towel. If I turn it round to the rear, you can see there that we have volume buttons. We've also got drillings for both standard sizes of arcade speaker in there and a standard jack plug for power. There's also mounting holes for the Raspberry Pi, but you can actually mount it elsewhere if you wish. This section here has actually been replaced with a bolt and a flush mounting here, as you'll see. This is one of the prototypes. If I turn it round, you can see on this model we have a 7-inch screen mounted on there, and we have the custom operating system loaded there. We can add some credit. And of course we can return to the menu. Okay, that takes us back to the menu. Now these kits are available engraved, or you can actually vinyl wrap one and change the colour of it. I'll show you a vinyl wrapped version of the case in a minute. They're easy to assemble. You're looking at about 15 minutes assembly, and next I'm going to take you through the case assembly process. Okay, so here we have the same cabinet type, this time plain sides, and as you can see this one's vinyl wrapped. The screen cover of course is still on the screen there, and you can see this is different types of buttons. This one's got illuminated buttons running off 5V, and also has got an illuminated ball joystick there. So any joystick with a zippy style bolt holes really will fit this system. And again on the rear we have the volume buttons there. Okay, let's now go ahead and look at our flat pack kit. Okay, let's start by looking at some components. So we'll start with fastenings. You should have 7 marine grade stainless steel M6 button head bolts. You should also have 7 stainless steel marine grade nuts to suit. Looking at the panels in the kit, we have 2 side panels, 1, 2. We should also have top panel, the front panel recognisable by the buttons. This is the way it's going to be installed, by the way, with the buttons to the left and the smaller hole to the middle. We have our marquee panel, our midsection panel, the monitor driver board panel, and of course our control panel. That's it for the first lot of parts. We're now going to have a look at the second lot of parts. Next in our parts list we have the base panel. Notice the slots in the front there, they're going to go to the front of the machine. We have the rear panel with the integrated speaker mount holes and the volume controls at the rear. We also have the power connector there, some mounting holes for the Pi, but you can mount the Pi wherever you like, or not at all if you use a 16 one. We also have the monitor mount plate and the monitor front plate. Okay, that's all the parts explained. Let's move on to the actual build process. So as with most our kits, we'll start with the nuts. So if you start by taking 2 of the nuts, and we're going to actually insert them into the nut slots, which are here, 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 and here, found on the base panel. And what we actually do is, as you can see there, line the flat edges up like so, and then just push down till they're actually square, roughly in the middle there. Okay, that's great for that one. Let's do the same here. You have to push these down a little bit because they are supposed to actually fit in there and hold them in there themselves. Do the same here. Just make sure you got the flats to the actual side. Okay, so let's see, that's there, and push those in roughly about halfway through so they're level. Same again with the last of the 4 into our base plate. Push those into position, and they actually stay in there, see. Now we'll move on to our mid panel, which is also acts as our locking plate there, and we need to insert here, here and here with nuts. Same procedure again. Push those into position. Need to get them roughly central. You're looking at around 10 to 15 minutes build time on this flat pack kit. Anybody can do it. All you'll actually need is an Allen key. Okay, that's all our nuts in position. Now we're ready to start with our build proper. Okay, so we're ready to start with the build. We're starting with what would be, as we're facing the front of the machine, our right hand side panel, as you can see there. Really we could start by putting together the marquee section of the build. So for that we shall need our middle panel, the one with the locking section in there. We're also going to need our marquee panel, and we're also going to need our top panel. Okay, so that's our 3 panels. Start with our mid panel, stroke locking panel. Take the marquee section and slot it into the holes like so. Push it down until it's flush along the edge there. It'll automatically be in the right position, so you don't need to worry about that. See? Okay, and then our top panel, place that on top. All to do with one hand. Okay, we should now be left with that sort of shape, and we shall take that, line it up, one-handedness again, line it up into these slots here, and then we're going to push that home in a minute. Very tricky to do with one hand. It's a lot easier, I can assure you, with 2. Okay, we're in. Push that home, and you can see that's flush, and you can see it's flush at the front and at the back there. Okay, that's fine. If you want to at this point, just hang it over the edge of the table a little bit and insert by hand one of the first bolts. So all we do is slot it through the hole in the panel, and you can see the slots here. It'll actually run through those. So I'll put the first one in now. Difficult with one hand. I recommend using 2 hands. And I'll use my ratchet screwdriver to actually put those in. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I might stand that up, it might make things a little easier with one hand. Okay, so we're going to screw that in. Just screw straight in, the nut stays in position. Just give me a second, I'll put that in. Okay, I'm getting somewhere now. So Just nip that up. Challenges of being assembling with one hand there. Okay, don't go crazy, but just nip it up there. And you can see that's now fastened on, nice and solid. Okay, let's lay that back down. I'm going to start with assembling the other pieces. Okay, so let's now. Okay, now we've got the top panel, the locking panel, and the marquee installed. It's time to look at the baseboard. So we take the baseboard. What we need to do first of all is install the front panel, and the front panel installs this way around. So you should have the larger holes to the right. So they just actually slot in there, push down until they're flush. Again, you can see that's flush there, and the whole thing then is going to be rotated and slotted into the slots that you see there. Okay, again push down to the flush, and that forms the front panel and the base. It's time to put some bolts in as well, so let's take some more stainless bolts. I find it's easier to move this over the edge of the table for this, and insert the bolt at the bottom, and then nip up with my trusty screwdriver. Okay, snip that up. Again, doing this one-handed. So there we go. Okay, that's that one, and we'll repeat the same with the other side. So we'll turn that round. Another stainless bolt from over here, and insert this one. And again, now a screwdriver. Okay. Should now find we have the base installed, and the front panel, and of course our marquee panel. Let's move that charger out of the way. You'll notice here we have 3 remaining slots. We have the control panel slot here. We also have a double slot here, and sorry, a triple slot here and a double slot here. That is for the monitor front panel and the monitor mounting panel in the middle, and then the rear panel for our board for the monitor. So let's take a look at that next. Let's lay those out. Now you can tell the difference between these two, even though they look similar, because one of them has a bigger opening. We can see here that this one is a bigger opening than this one. That's because that's the front monitor panel. So we can place that on there. And also we need our remaining monitor mount rear panel. Notice there's a slot here. That slot is going to go that way around, and that slot is actually for the monitor's cable to go through back to its adapter board that will sit on here. Okay, so all we do is simply take these pieces, and this is a little bit more tricky, and I don't know how I'm going to handle it, to be honest, with only one hand. But we need these two panels together, and then we need this panel at the bottom, like so, stacked. So we now have 3 here and 2 at the front. Take those as a pile, and we need to stack them into our slots. It might be easier actually to put the last board in there. So there's our 2 at the front. There we go. And we'll slot in the last remaining panel here, like so. Okay, you can see they're all flush. Don't worry about that because that goes into the top panel. See, they're all mounted in here, and we've got our control panel still to put in there. So we'll take our control panel here. That's our control panel, and this has the joystick on the left. You can swap it round, of course, if you're left-handed or you prefer it that way, but we're going to take it this way around. I'm going to slot it into our remaining slot here. Okay, now this should actually sit with the panel there flush. Okay, so we've got all our panels in the slots. They're all flush at that side. We now need the top panel placing on there to actually hold things together. So we'll take our other side panel. Okay, that's our other side panel, and we can place that on top. It does get a little bit tricky. I like to start by working with the bottom slots. So if we just first of all line that up with the bottom slots, as you can see there, we've done that. Next, our front slot there, so let's make sure we've got that lined up. That looks pretty good at the moment. Then our control panel slot, let's just bring that in. Okay, we've got that lined up. Of course, it's being hindered at the moment by the middle panel, so let's just play with that a little bit and get that in position. At the top there. Okay, that's that one. We need to line up those there, and then finally a section here, so let's do that. That's the three that we've got there, and it can get a little bit tight. Just need to make sure they're lined up very well. Okay, and then push down on there, and then the remaining panel then is our control panel to line up with that there, and the whole thing needs to be pushed down into position. So gently push down. We'll get all those in. Don't be afraid to use a little pressure on there. There we go, and then it all pops in. Okay, so now that's all assembled. We've got our bolts to put in there yet as well. Okay, the next thing to do, of course, we need our rear door positioning, and the speaker goes to the left hand side of the rear. You can also see the notches down there for the hinge in there. So before we bolt the top panel down, let's rotate that around. So now we can see the inside of the assembly. We can get to our buttons down here. We can see the driver board mount there and the slot for our monitor to come through, our connection for the monitor. Can also see the locking panel with the nut in there. And what we need to do now is basically slot in the bottom hinge into there, and then gently lift the top panel just a touch until we can drop that into there, like so. Push down firmly all the way around, just to make sure we've got everything in. Everything looks good from here. And then we're going to finish that off with the bolts for that. So we're going to take 3 stainless from there. So again, got 3 bolts. And place 1 in there. We're going to place 1 in there. And we're going to place 1 in the top there. And then using our screwdriver, we're going to put those in position and tighten them down. Same with the front one. We should now have a fairly solid assembly, so we pick that up. You can see we've got our hinged rear panel there, and you can see that's now a solid assembly, no movement there. The last bolt to put in really is to shut our rear door in there and insert the last remaining bolt into there. Okay, so we'll take our last remaining bolt and we'll place that into our locking panel. And we'll tighten that in. Okay, that's tight, so that's now secure. You'll also notice we've got a handle there where we can actually pick up the assembly. Let's look at our handiwork. So that's our finished case. There we go. Ready for vinyl covering or whatever you wish, painting. And cheap car paint, as I've said before, works well on MDF. It's strange but true. So you could get a nice black finish there, or you could actually finish it off with some edging strip along this edge. That would also be a suitable way to finish it off. Or just leave it plain wood if you like the environmental look. Thank you for your time. If you want to buy one of these kits, the main place to look is on eBay. We're called arcade_flat_pack, and you can also find us on www.arcadeflatpack.co.uk. Thanks for your time.